Hello YouTube, AD6DM, Dennis here, coming out of Stockton, California. And today, I'm putting together an MMDVM hotspot. This is the hat portion of it, which I got on eBay, and got a Pi Zero here from Adafruit. It's the Pi Zero with headers pre-soldered on them. And of course, on this little tiny micro SD card here, I got the latest version of the DStar software flashed on there. So let's take a look. The first thing you'll notice on this package, it's in one of those RF or static prevention packages, is that it has this little sticker here that tells me what my offsets are. This will be important later, especially if you're using Fusion or DMR. You'll be entering this value as a reference value in the DStar configuration for the MMDVM host in the expert settings. I won't really get into that, but that's one of the great challenges to configuring a hotspot is dialing down the loss rate and making sure that you get through clearly. So if we open this up here, we got a couple things here. I won't be needing some of these things because I've done this before and I realized that there's an easier way to do it. So there we go, that's the case and the antenna. So let's put this away. But if we get the components out here, get this out here, we have this little Pi Hat, you can see here. And this hat has a little screen already on it. I'm going to remove this sticker here. And you see there has two little things for jumpers, these here, and then this is where they soldered on the hat, or the screen. So pretty cool. I will get this part out as well because we'll need some of these components. But the intention here is that you take these things, which are intended for a Pi Zero, a base Pi Zero. And I'll show you the difference of what I do. And you plug them in here. So this part is supposed to solder on to the Pi Zero. But I'm not going to use those. So I'll just put them aside. If I get out my Pi Zero here, fresh out of the box, Adafruit sells these right now for $14. I ordered the Pi Zero with headers. So you see here, it already has the headers installed. Normally this is not here. And you just have a nice row of holes. And what you would do is you would find the corresponding sections and solder yourself. Now, I've had a little bit of practice at soldering last year, so I feel a little more confident doing it. But as much as possible, I don't want to solder. So I was like, why don't I just get the headers already installed and just slap the Pi on it, or the Pi Hat on it. And so you see here, the main problem is that this has these pins up here. So if you try to push this on here, they actually will collide. Sometimes you're lucky and they won't, but you really don't want them touching. So this is the little thing I did. I just went and actually clipped them off. So I'm going up here. I'm just going to clip these off. Let's see here. Boom. Clip them off. By doing that, no soldering. Ta-da! It fits right on there, and there you go. So as is, I could just turn this thing on right now and start configuring it. Put the SD card in there. But I'm going to actually get it into the case here. So I'm going to put this aside, and you'll see that this is actually made to house the Pi Zero. Oops, there goes my screwdriver. And there's a little hole in there, so I'm just going to put this in here like that. And these screws. Now what you'll notice if you do it this way is that these little things actually give a little bit of spacing, so that when it attaches to the Pi Hat, oops, ooh, I'm going to break this before I even get it working. It gives a little spacing there, so it sits a little bit higher. But in this case, I am not having that. It's just going directly to these headers, so it's going to sit a little bit lower, which means that when you actually do the screws in the back, they will actually go through a little bit more and stick out here at the bottom. So what I like to do is I just put some stick-on rubber feet here to keep this base elevated a little bit. Otherwise, you got these little screws coming out a little bit. So that's the trade-off for the easiness of actually doing this with the headers pre-installed. So I'm going to go ahead and get that all together, and then I will come back. All right, so partially done. I screwed in the parts there. Here, let me see if I can do this right so you can see it. But I got the screws in there. And you see, you got to make sure that you get the right part here. And then these spacers will hold up the Pi Hat while, and support it on the other side, while this side is held up by the connectors. So let's get the other side to it, and I'll show it to you. All right. So I've gotten one of the screws in here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if I screw this in, just not too tight. So I've put it on. Now this would normally have a little bit more space in there, but since it's directly on the header now, there's about 1 millimeter that you lose. And you'll see here at the bottom, I'll see if I can get this right. You see here in the bottom, it actually sticks out just a little bit because of that. But with the rubber feet on there, it doesn't matter, but normally it should either be behind that or flush against it. And that's what I get for not soldering. All right, so got both of them on there. A little bit sticking out at the bottom. Let's see here. Get this on here. Just as a quick way to demo it. I'm not going to put the top on yet, but that's how it looks in its final form. Well, with the case top on there. The top, incidentally, has these breakaway parts here for opening for the screen, so you just kind of bend them and they come right off. Might be a little bit of something sticking out there, you just file that off. Here's another one. Let's see if I could pry this up with just my fingers here. If you just twist on that, it should break away. Well, maybe not. It's a little bit stubborn here. There we go. All right, so get rid of that. So you have your space here for the antenna. You have your space here for the screen, and then a little tiny slot just to see the lights. But it's not very useful because you have to be directly over it to see. Let me see if I can find it. Something here. All right, I gotta find a USB micro cable to be able to plug this in. Oh, I know what I'll do. Okay, I'll get my trusty old battery. I'm just gonna fire this up just to see that it works. I'll borrow my micro SD cable from my SDR, and if you flashed it right, it should just pop up. Oops. So let's see how that looks. It's going to boot up. It takes a little bit of time. And if you flashed DStar onto the SD card correctly, then it will take a few minutes to figure out that it can't connect to anything. And then suddenly it will create its own hotspot or its own Wi-Fi access point. So if you go on your phone, which I can't show you right now because I'm using my phone to video this, but if you go on your phone and search for available Wi-Fi networks, you will see one called DStar pop up, and that's how you can connect to the device to initially configure it. You could do the same with your computer. You just basically change your Wi-Fi connection to DStar, and then you connect to DStar, I think it's, yeah, just Pi-star. And if you're on a Mac, it's pi-star.local. But I don't know. It doesn't. It might take too long here, so I'm going to pause a little bit and see. I'll show you when it shows the screen. All right, I made a bit of a mistake. It's not going to show me the screen because nothing's configured. So here, let me try to do this here. The initial login is DStar. I'm trying to do this while holding the camera. Oops, Pi-star, not equal star. And then Raspberry is the initial password. And it will show you the DStar gateway there, or not gateway. But everything is default. So what you're going to do, first of all, is do some settings here. Sorry about this. I haven't quite mastered the screen capture video yet. I will. So you enter your call sign in there, all that information. But what I want to do right now is just demo the screen working. So I'm just going to save this as is. I don't know what that's going to do, but I do want to change my keyboard to US and my time zone to, where are you? Los Angeles, if I can find you. There you go. And hit apply. Oh, I forgot to hit the modem. We'll let this restart again. All right, let's try that again. I actually needed to set the radio. So I didn't do that. First of all, I just need to mention that I did change my computer Wi-Fi to DStar setup, which is the initial thing that the hotspot does. And then this, let me remember what it is. I believe it's one of these. ST32 DVM MMDVM _HS Raspberry Pi Hat GPIO. So we'll hit that, apply changes there. And it's going to reboot, or not reboot, but reset all of its stuff. And here it is coming back up again. And then from here, I'll go to MMDVM host configuration and set the display type as OLED. And then I'll just keep it in this. I think this is for a specific type of screen, so I don't think this even does anything. But when I apply changes to that, that's when I expect to see the actual screen pop up and start working. All right, it's coming up, and boom. Let me come back here, show you. There's the screen now. It is firing up and working. So I won't get into the configuration of DStar. There are much better videos than what I could possibly do. But basically, if you're using this for DMR, DStar, or Yaesu Fusion, there's different ways to go about it. Just some quick tips, I guess. DMR, the easiest way is to go through the DStar, make it a Brandmeister connection and not try to do the DMR gateway method. Once you learn more about that, then you can venture into being a DMR gateway. It depends on your use. For DStar, it's very much just setting up the mode and picking a default reflector and making sure that you are registered on DStar and enter all your information, like your call sign, and it should just work. Yeah, I found it much easier to set up the hotspot than to actually connect with my radio, because the radio itself needed some special repeater settings that I had to learn about. But there we go. That is the MMDVM Pi Hat. You can find these on eBay. Now, total build cost of this device, Pi Zero with headers, was $14. And the Pi Hat I got for $35. You'll probably get it for less than that as time goes on. And so all in all, what's that? $49. So call it 50 bucks plus shipping for both. Much less than, you know, say a Zoom spot, which you still need to set up, or you know, some of these other devices that are on the market that are already assembled. So just for a very little amount of effort, you can actually put one of these together for a lot less. So I've seen hotspots that cost like, what, $300? Even the ones that cost $100, I'm getting 3 of these for the same price. So hope that helps, and thanks a lot for watching. This is AD6DM Dennis here in Stockton, California, and wishing you a 73.